Welcome back on Delmod. Today I want to propose you a video about
the unboxing and review about the Warhammer Conquest issue 58 released in combination of Hachette and Games Workshop. This is an interesting one because inside there is this assault bike that it's an amazing piece, and now we'll go to see the contents inside. But before, I want to remember you that this is an offer that has been delayed during the year because the situation that we are in, so the issue are released every 2 weeks. So if you are having some problems to find the various issue, remember that you can order in your news agent, eventually paper one, if you are interested, because you can order them, so eventually you can make that you can find them, so not worry about be able to find. Remember that there is some problems about be able to find, so eventually there will be some delay in receiving them. Anyway, now we can go to see the contents inside. Inside this issue there is the booklet, the miniature, the base for the miniature, and this battle mat that I'll show you right now, because this is something that is really quite amazing. You can see now the base that it's inside. This is the official base of the assault bike. Remember that these are important one because previously the assault bike didn't have a base. Now they have, and as you can see, it's a base that it's a 78-79mm one, so an 80mm base. So it's quite interesting, this one, because you can now modify this eventually and make that you are not having this, that it's moving free on the battlefield, but it has a really important way to understand where there is the limit of such models. So it's a nice thing that has been released, the base itself. So remember about this. Now we can go to see the model. And now we can see the miniature of the assault bike. We can find that it's two sprue. One is the normal bike that we can find usually, and this is instead the add-in of the assault bike. So we have the all things that are interesting about. Here we can find also the two options of the board gear that it has, and it's really quite awesome. You can see by this one that it's the old set of miniatures, because the disposition of the pieces and so on, that it's quite far each one from the other. So this is something that it's anyway quite interesting, because it's simple but really worthy. Remember that this is a piece that it's easy to build but also easy to make it really great on the battlefield. So now we can move this aside and go to see this one. And here we have the booklet itself. We can find that the cover itself it's about the assault bike, and we can so open it and see the contents. We can find inside here the contents side, here a bit of background and description about the assault bike, because it's a thing that it's good that there is. Here we can find another bit of background. Here we can find something that it's about the Raven Guard, that it's one of the main chapters about the Space Marine. And I suggest you to read this, because there are a lot of interesting things to know about its background. Here a bit one of the, I can say, enemy of the Empire, that it's the Tau Empire, that it's an alien race with its own empire, and it's really interesting to read about. And here we have also some of the models exposed about the Tau Empire itself, so you can see if they can be like you and so on. This is usually called a Gundam army, because there are a lot of big armor about this, but they are not bad as models, really. They are really quite interesting. And here, how to build the assault bike, the attack bike, and it's really quite good, because based on this you can study it, understand how to build it, what to glue and not to glue, and eventually you can study this to understand how to monetize the model, because for example the weapon, because for example this part that you can eventually not glue but making the way that you can attach and detach it so that you can use this as a singular moto or as Arttack bike. So you can have a lot of interesting ways to use such a way to build up the model. And here how to paint the model. And we can find that with the color that has been released with this opera, you have enough options to personalize a lot such models so that you can gain quite a lot of detail and so on. So you can have at the end a really nice model. So it's quite awesome. Eventually, remember that in the future I'll also make a video about how to test this model, because there are a bit of things that can be quite interesting about. And here instead we have rules about the way to play the moto and the Arttack bike, because we had the rules for the Arttack bike and so on, and a way to use it, so a battle plan about it. About this, I want to remember you that we are now in the 9th edition of Warhammer 40k. These rules are related about the previous Codex of the Space Marine and about the previous edition, so the 8th edition. Eventually in the description you can find the playlist about how to play with the 8th and the 9th edition, so you can decide which one to follow. And eventually also the review about the playlist about the review of the Codex Space Marine 2020. So it's up to you decide which one to follow and to use. Not worry, because if you want to continue to use, because you want to follow this one and so on and play the 8th edition, you are completely free to do. So not worry about. If instead you want to know and learn how to play the 9th edition, there are my videos related about. So not worry about this and play as much and as you like, because there is your freedom to do. Not worry about this. Simply you can choose and you can find eventually the rules about. Here the nice image that you can always cut eventually here and use as a post and so on. Here the usually image that it's I can say the cover of the opera of Warhammer Conquest, that it's always amazing. And here what it will be released in the next issues. And about this you can find this, that I find it really quite interesting, because it can have the Hellblasters, the Intercessors and another Inceptor. And if you are going to have these ones, remember that okay, Intercessor you have enough if you have bought some of these opera again, because it's not new about this. You can have other models about, so you can gain quite a lot by this one. But if you are not needing this one, you can choose not to buy. Eventually remember that it's an interesting opera. And remember that I make a note. Don't worry if I don't buy it or so, because you can decide which one you are interested about. So I'll make the review about the issues that I buy and I bring you. But if you are not interested, you are interested in something, not worry about. For example, I'm not interested in this, but it doesn't mean that it's not worth, because it's a unit of this box worker that can be quite useful for you and so on. And there is also the Marine. It's something that if you need, it's good. If you don't need, don't buy. So not worry about this. So what to say about this issue itself? I think that it's really quite interesting, because inside you can find the Arttack bike, the Arttack bike, because it's really quite an awesome model. And also the Battlemat can be useful eventually if you are not having something to play on with. So this is something that you have to decide if it's worth for you, because if you're going to play only Primal Space Marine, for example, you can't be interested maybe in this opera, or better in this issue of the opera. So not worry about, and decide which one are the issues that you are interested about. Anyway, from Dynamod it's everything. I invite you to put a like on this video, to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell, and to comment this video if you are interested in something about this video, or you want to suggest me some arguments for other videos. I hope to see you again. Till the next time.